as one, forever together. A new day, and we'll stay like a rising sun, forever together. Hold on, we're so strong. Now we fight as one, forever together. I'm a savior when the sky falls. Can you hear the siren call? Can you hear the siren call? Oh, I'm a savior when the sky falls. Can you hear the siren call?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Mobafire Challenger Series. My name is Rapid. With me is Malthus X. Tonight we'll be taking you through, yet another game here tonight. This time around, we have a couple new teams for you. It's New World Eclipse taking on the new lineup of EXERTUS ZEAL. This is going to be featuring Hoodstomp, Lopali, Unholy Wish, Yoda, and Richie Rich. So nice to see some old names back here on a new team. Looking like we got to get the game underway. We are into picks and bans.
Yeah, EXERTUS ZEAL, they're still looking to pick up their first win in the MCS. They did. I want to say that this will be the third game that they'll be playing with this lineup. I want to say that they changed it mid last week, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. But either way, this is they're going to have their work cut out for them. New World Eclipse have been playing really well in the last few days. The last weekend, they just had an absolutely incredible weekend. They come out this week. I mean, they had a little bit of a tempered result. They did drop a game to Complexity, but Complexity, I mean, they're definitely a very strong team in this league right now. So it's this should be quite the interesting matchup. Both these teams have a lot on the line.
Absolutely, and especially EXERTUS Esports. I mean, they're definitely having a little bit of a rough time here in MCS, down there at the very bottom of the ladder. I mean, the only way to go is up, and going up against New World Eclipse actually had their work cut out for them, because NWE, not a lot of people had heard of them. They were the old Azure Gaming roster that just completely changed up, got some new players, and they've actually been gelling together extremely well. A big star to watch out for this game is going to be Maruam. He's also known as Fierce Sky. He's like one of the best Vayne / Caitlyn players. I was actually talking to I Am Gosu earlier on. You guys know him as being a Vayne monster, and he was just like, I come nowhere near being as good as Maruam. That guy's a god. So I'll have to check him out as the AD carry coming in here for New World Eclipse.
All right, so we're going to see we are into picks and bans here. Bans coming out, Kennen, Thresh, and Elise being taken away from the side of New World Eclipse. Over on the side of EXERTUS ZEAL, they've taken away Aatrox, Twisted Fate, and Nunu getting banned out. So once again, we're seeing very common bans all around. Trying to think, the only ones that feel a little bit more targeted are basically the Kennen. Actually, I want to say just the Kennen, because Elise has become such a permalock champion. Has just been in every single game and has had a lot of impact as well. So that I'm not even going to call that one just like a straight up target ban either. Especially since Yoda is going to end up being he's plays Jarvan. I've watched this guy play Jarvan in tournaments at this level or even higher for the better part of the last year now. So this is by no means an uncomfortable pick for him.
Yeah, if you guys are looking to learn a jungler that you can stick with through every single elo, Jarvan the Fourth is going to be that guy. He's always very effective, and just imagine when they fix his ultimate. I mean, he'll just be even better. Interesting to see a no AD carry pickup there. Hoodstomp was going to take away that Vayne pick from Maroon. We just got done talking about how monstrous this guy is going to be on Vayne. And I thought, hey, they're not going to ban it out, so what better pick to go for than to just grab it away? Hoodstomp going to go for a Twitch here. Keep in mind, this guy's a Graves god. He was formerly of Hoodstomp Graves GG, the team that became CLG Black. And now here, once again, on EXERTUS Esports, picking up a Twitch Nami combo. going up against most likely a JD Wu on support Zyra, joining up with Maroon's Vayne. So, I mean, initially, I'm very impressed with this lineup from NWE. Keep in mind, Shouster's got his Jace too, and it's just looking extremely strong for those guys.
Yeah, this is gonna be really, really potent. We've seen a lot of Nami Vayne, and one of the synergies that lane pairing has is that if you stand anywhere near a wall and get CC'd by Nami, Vayne's gonna put you into the wall with a condemn and then just go absolutely crazy with damage. Zyra can do the same thing. I mean, she also has a skill shot root. This one's a root instead of a stun. So, I mean, you can maybe make the argument that it's just marginally less effective, but it also works in an AoE. It's an AoE line instead of a little AoE circle at the target point. But and similarly, if he's able to lock you up, he's able to follow it up with more burst than Nami can summon. So Zyra is a very, very pokey support with a lot of good control. And I think even a little bit more importantly, once they start hitting the team fight phase, Nami is able to create, I believe, a better zone of control in front of Vayne than Nami would have been able to. Or Zyra, sorry, I think I said Nami. Zyra is able to create a better zone of control than Nami would be able to. Nami just throws down the ultimate, it knocks everybody up, then she has the bubble, which maybe lands, maybe doesn't, and that's it. Zyra is like, okay, Stranglethorns, and as long as Vayne stands on it and you want to do anything to her, you have to get knocked up and take damage and get poked down by my plants and then get rooted up after that. Very, very difficult to get to a Vayne through Renekton, through Nasus, and through a Zyra. So I really, really like the composition we're seeing out of New World Eclipse.
Yeah, NWE, a lot of synergy there. The sort of Bash Brothers composition is going to be coming out once again. I think we are going to take a quick commercial break before we get into the game. So don't go anywhere. Be sure to support our sponsors, disable your ad block. And if you guys want to leave us a tip, if you guys like the games and the cast tonight, head over to mcsesports.com/tips and check us out over there. But without further ado, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. Like we said, when we come back, it's going to be the second game of the day. All right, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to get into our second game of the day. It's the Mobafire Challenger Series. I am Rapid. With me is Malphus X. We're going to get into the series between New World Eclipse taking on EXERTUS Esports. Now, we already talked about some of these lineups. Very big players. We got Unholy Wish and Ari/Anivia Monster going up against the legend that is Maruam's Vayne. We're going to see a show put on. Either way, both teams very, very strong coming out the bat, but EXERTUS have a lot to prove.
I mean, we have the immediate pause coming out there, but then there's the ready coming out. So I'm assuming there was just like a little bit of a concern about a loading issue. We're going to make sure that we hop back up to live. We don't want any 2 seconds delay. We want to keep you guys right on the cutting edge of esports. And those 2 seconds, they definitely make a huge difference. But everybody's going to buy their items, pile out of the base, and we're going to see what these teams have prepared for their level 1.
Like I said, EXERTUS Esports have a lot to prove, down at the very bottom of the ladder and going up against one of the real surprises of MCS in New World Eclipse. They had a few roster changes. You can see Promise Siri in the jungle instead of JD Wu. He actually will be moving to support. But either way, Maroom on there as their AD carry. We'll have to see how they decide to go for these level 1s, because you can always 2v1 and put a hyper carry in a very favorable lane composition and just get that carry to late game a little bit faster. See if they decide to do that with both AD carries and supports on the bottom half of the map early on. I mean, they always have the option to switch, and you may actually see that because now both teams know kind of what to expect from the opening of their opponents.
Yeah, it's just we're seeing one of the great utilities of having Jarvan in the level 1, where support wants to go through into the enemy jungle and get a ward down, but you can never be 100% sure of how safe it is. You can always just throw the Demacian Standard in the offending brush that you don't have any vision in, and it'll reveal that vision. It'll let you know if it's actually safe for your support to step forward and drop that ward down. So I always like to see that Yoda helping out as Lopali wants to get that ward into the jungle. They did drop it down, but the immediate counter ward coming out as the pink goes into the banana brush will reveal all the way up to the very edge of the Wraith camp. And so, just like that, they're protecting their jungler, making sure that nobody knows where he's going to be coming out first, and they're going to give Prom Siri as much space as they can. It's looking like the 2v1 swap is in effect here from EXERTUS ZEAL. So we're finding Vayne and Zyra headed up to the top lane, and I would be pretty surprised. Excuse me, I had that backwards. New World Eclipse going to be doing the lane swap here. I'd be pretty surprised to see Richie Rich walk down the rib. Uh-oh, that's not going to be good. Richie
Rich, please don't do. Oh my goodness, walk straight into the bush. Be able to probably get out alive with that flash, but that's quite a bit of distance covered after face checking that bush. A little bit of a cheesy play by Maroom and JD Wu, but that is going to be devastating for this 2v1.
Yeah, I mean, not having that flash this early on is going to be really, really painful, and it may even just put a huge target on his back. Prom Siri may say, okay, he's one Shadow Dash away from just getting locked up by Wither completely and dying immediately. So we'll see what's going to happen there. We see Quas spend a lot of time helping out there on the red buff, so he's going to come to lane a little bit late. He's not going to lose maybe as much for that as he could conceivably lose, just because of the fact that we're seeing Twitch and Nami, they're just hard freezing the lane. So he's essentially going to be there for about as much of the experience as he could have safely gotten anyway. But, I mean, it's going to set him just a little tad behind.
Yeah, it's actually a strategy I've actually seen Quas do a few times, primarily with Aatrox. He'll start Dora and shield, and then go back to base, pick up 4 health potions, and then just walk back into lane. Because like you said, he's not really going to miss all that much. You can see he's actually, lane just frozen in the middle, now pushing towards his turret. It's actually a really decent position to be in a 2v1. So you'll be able to CS the majority of the minion wave under there, and have 4 potions worth of sustain. Be able to stay in that lane until you either get to gank, or, the turret falls.
And we see both teams are just playing the who can push down the turret faster. We see Jarvan and Shen up in the top lane going to try to keep this safe as long as they can. Richie Rich can always taunt under the tower just like that.
Yeah, but a nice tumble out. We'll keep most of the damage off of Maroom for now. That's red buff damage, actually chucking him down there around half HP, but nothing too dangerous going on. Actually, Quas able to kind of wave clear that out pretty decently, already up to level 3 after coming back from base, so definitely getting in on there. The dangerous thing about Renekton is that, he may not be greatest in a 1v2, but as soon as it becomes a 2v2, as soon as you get some jungle pressure in there, it starts to turn pretty deadly.
This is, the other thing I'm interested to see here, JD Wu. Actually, I don't know if he predictively did this, if he just recognized that Richie Rich was going to go for the taunt, but he drew tower aggro when Maroom got taunted up like that. So he was actually able to tank that up for him so that Vayne didn't take any damage. And now Xiao's coming up. They really want this tower.
Yeah, but keep in mind, I mean, Yoda's there. He has some pretty decent wave clear. Ooh, baiting out the Shadow Dash there. Richie Rich does get the silver proc, or Maroon gets the silver bolt proc off onto Richie Rich with a nice impale, and it's just going to be Promissory kind of tri-laning up here with the rest of NWE.
Yeah, they're just trying to take this tower down as quickly as they can. They just want to apply as much pressure as they can. And I'll be kind of interested to see what the game plan is behind this. Are they just looking for a long lane to give Vayne time to just split push?
You know, I think pretty much, yeah, Maroon getting in there, he continues to get chunked out a little bit, and with only a Doran's Blade, it's going to be kind of rough going in there, but you can see Nas is so good at taking down turrets. Even though he doesn't have a ton of Q farm on Siphoning Strike, it's just that plus 12 damage right now, still able to chunk down that turret. It's not going to survive too many more waves.
Oh, Quas playing so aggressively. They're taking most of Hoodstomp's HP, but losing just about all of his in the trade. He's out of health potions. He's only level 4, so he doesn't have the opportunity to pop 6 and just use that Dominus to keep himself alive, but he really doesn't want to miss this experience. Tower's going to go down to the top lane without incident, and Quas he's just barely on the edge of this game.
Oh, but keep in mind, we got Shousters coming in from behind. Now, Hoodstomp's like, wait a second, what's going on here? Gonna try to stealth away. Even still, it's gonna be a lot of damage coming back onto Shousters. Hits by that Aqua Prism. Quas can't really go in on this. Expunge goes down, and Shao gets chunked out there. A great play by Hoodstomp, kind of turning that gank around.
This is the 3-man tower gang squad. It's not the 3-man gang squad from St. Vicious band days. That was, for anybody who's been in the League of Legends community long enough to actually remember that. This is the 3-man tower gang squad as they just continue to roam around with Nasus, Zyra, and Vayne, clear out as many creeps as they possibly can, and just try to push down every single tower they come across.
You know, this is a little bit of an interesting take. We've seen Complexity run double AD mid, and then they basically just send super top with a Caitlyn or a Varus and try to push down objectives as fast as possible. But this is, you're not relying on a long-range AD carry or a 2v1 lane to push things out. You're just saying, look, we have a Nasus, and we have 2 other people in lane with him. We're just going to crush down anything we can. Lane swap is in effect, though, so rotating the dual lane, or I guess the trio lane, down to bottom. In the end, Promissory, JD1, and Maroon trying to push down that bottom turret. Hoodstomp's going back, which means that this could actually be a really strong push that could do a lot of damage to this turret. I mean, Yoda's going to try to come bottom in time, but if they want this turret, it belongs to NWE.
So you see Quas up here in the top lane. This is going to be an interesting matchup here. Shen hasn't purchased any items yet, so he still has basically a completely open build path before him. He can build as much armor as he wants to try to deal with this Renekton. Armor and HP are typically going to be the name of the game for Shen in this kind of matchup. But given the fact that Renekton had a bit of a better time in his 2v1, he's up in experience, he's already level 6, he's up in gold, he's up a little bit ahead in CS as well. He's got about a 300 gold gap right now between the two of them. So this is going to be very interesting to see what Quas can do with this artificially elongated lane. They took down the top tower, so Shen's going to have a long way to go before he can be safe if the wave is all the way up at the river. And we'll see if Quas can exploit that with the fact that he's Renekton and he's running Ghost to Shen's Flash.
Now, keep in mind, there's a Giant's Belt onto Shen, so that's that big core item you want early on. So not completely devastatingly far behind, but with double Dorans on Quas, it's going to set him farther behind on picking up the actual itemization. Now, we saw the tri-lane out of NWE, but it's kind of being countered out here. Yoda, Hoodstomp, and Lopali, rather, able to take down their bottom turret of their own. We'll tie things up at 1-1, and the gold count only 200 gold difference, very, very close. But it almost seems like EXERTUS, they didn't even have to exert as much pressure on that turret as you saw that tri-lane up top for, it seemed like 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. They just had an opportunity where there wasn't as much defense on that tower, and so they were able to very, very quickly get in there. But we see, though, the response from New World Eclipse, they're just going to try to dive right under this dragon. Promissory isn't level 6 yet.
Yeah, we are going to have the ultimate from Yoda to start things off. Shenol is going to help him out. He is taking up Dragon. We're going to see Maruam pop the barrier, but he's still flashing out. He does not want to fight this. A great, great contesting there by EXERTUS. They come in there and they blow a lot of ultimates to keep things going. All in all, Yoda going to jump in there, trying to pick up Maruam. He's going to back out of there. One more auto attack. One more auto attack, they ignite. Could it go down? Yes, it will. And first blood at the 8.5 minute mark. Going to Shousters. He's not out of dodge yet, though. He's going to try to get away here, flashing the Aqua Prism. Will make it out alive, barring an act of God. The flash in, the slow is coming out. Will we see Ari? He's going to get the flash onto JD Wu, actually. We're going to take him down, but killing somebody who deals true damage when he dies, probably not going to be the greatest option when you're low HP. I almost wish that JD Wu had gone in there and died. And then he could have body blocked for Shousters and tried to pick up the kill on Unholy Wish with his passive. But as is, it's going to be a nice turnaround, a 1-for-1 in kills. No dragon taken just yet.
Yeah, I mean, that was a little bit over-aggressive from New World Eclipse, thinking that they had the control for that, and basically everything got used that fight. I'm looking over to see who still has what summoner spell. Qua still has his summoner spells available, and Hoodstomp has a barrier, along with the summoners for Shen as well, for Richie Rich. So the top laners didn't burn any of theirs. You know, Renekton just canceled the Shen teleport, and then that was the end of it. And then everyone else used all of their summoners in that lane. And if you look at the cooldowns, they were all up too. Everything just got burned there, and it wasn't really able to make like a massive gap in anything. EXERTUS ZEAL were able to pick up one kill at the very end of all of it after Shoutster was able to pick up that first blood. So realistically, we didn't see a whole lot of trading going on there. Only a 600 gold gap separating these two teams.
And we talked about it earlier on, very narrow gold gap right now, and with this pink ward control going over to EXERTUS, things actually may start to tip in their favor. They have that bottom lane control, bottom half of the map. It's definitely going to them, but Quas up there versus Richie Rich is definitely having a pretty good time. You can see only double Durans, but neither one of them actually going back to base so far. Does look like you mentioned Stealth in there, does have the ultimate going down there. Aqua Prism does miss, but is it going to be enough? Yes! It is going to be the Expunge, rather, to pick up the kill. Hoodstomp picking up the second kill of the game. Or EXERTUS ZEAL starting to turn things around in the bottom lane, and the pressure is on to Dragon. EXERTUS can take this down without having to worry about an AD carry, meaning that it's either going to be up to JD Wu, Shousters, but no one in the area going to give the first Dragon of the game over to EXERTUS.
Yeah, that was really solid play, and Hoodstomp's not done.
He's going to go in here, gets the slow there. Where's the Expunge? One more auto attack to pick it up. He actually does have... Wait, what? Just Are you serious, Hoodstomp? For reals? He throws the Venom cask on there to get some extra ticks of his Deadly Venom passive instead of just going for the Expunge kill. That is quite troll, if I do say so myself. He's gonna get out of there.
I think his mana may have been just shy. He needs 80 mana for Expunge and only 50 for the Venom cast. And after picking that up, he's like right at 50 mana now. So I want to say when he used it, it was like just enough.
All right, well, I guess I'll accept that. I'll accept that reasoning. But either way, let's pick up the first. No, actually, it was his support. Yeah, it was Lopali that picked up the first kill, but 2 kills coming right on after that to the Twitch. It's going to actually Blade of the Ruined King first. And I actually like that choice because when you're going up a lineup that includes both Nasus and Renekton, you're gonna have a lot of HP to chunk through.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while too. You see, I mean, there's not a whole lot of damage on either of these top laners, but Quas has gone for that Tiamat first build, so it's gonna give him something to do while he's locked out from his champion commands during his W during the stun. I can't recall the name of that one out the top of the bat. The Ruthless Predator is actually the name of that. Wow, that's a terrifying name. No wonder why I forgot it. Ruthless Predator. He can't do anything while he's doing that, but he can proc Tiamat.
Yeah, Tiamat's going to be able to help him wave clear really well, and that means that until Shen gets his Sunfire cape up, it's going to be a pretty rough lane to start pushing out. You can see Maroom actually tumbling away from Hoodstomp right now. It's a pretty dominant lead there in that lane. You can see very far ahead to his Blade of the Ruined King. Got Lopley going in there, throws down Tide Collars, buzzing. Nasus from the jungle, immediately Strangle Thorns go out from JD Wu down. Maroom trying to tumble away, immediately blows Hoodstomp apart. Low Pally not logged for this world, and you promised Siri. Came out of nowhere, seemingly. Same thing happening in the top lane, though. Quas gonna get jumped on there by Richie Rich. Yoda, though, taking down Dangerous, though. Quas is gonna pick up a kill in a 2v1, and even is gonna be able to take down Richie Rich if he keeps the aggression on. Turns it down, gets the Tiamat proc. One more auto attack and a double kill. 1v2, and Quas is a monster.
Oh, yeah, he's a monster crocodile. He's not just a monster, he's a monster reptile. But we see Unholy Wish is getting worked on in the bottom.
Yeah, he does jump in there for the Ignite onto JD Wu, able to take him down. Not quite able to jump onto Maroom. And Promisiri is going to be able to get out of there. Just kind of 1 speeds versus 2 speeds. So Unholy Wish would eventually be able to catch up. You don't want to go too deep into enemy territory. And pretty much the same thing. Maroom actually procking the warning. Danger, Will Robinson getting out of there alive. Double Golems do not claim another victim.
Can I just want to give a quick shout out here to Yoda for his ultimate actually helping Quas out, as Richie Rich was still locked inside of it after Yoda died and wasn't allowed to, like, you can't control the terrain after you die, so he couldn't take it away, and it gave Quas a couple of extra auto attacks and may very well have been the difference between Richie Rich going down or not. So the age-old adage of I'm Jarvan, I'm helping, proving true even from beyond the grave.
Yeah, how can be premature sure after you've already died. I mean, that seems to be kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, but even kind of hurting himself there, because I was pretty sure he was trying to get out of his own ultimate. Couldn't quite find that R button, so you can find that at the beginning. Either way, that's going to be a ton of kills and damage over to Renekton. You'll actually notice him picking up a Null Magic Mantle. Probably thinking about going for a little bit of maybe even a Hex Shrink after Mercury Treads, or just either one of those. It's going to help him against the magic damage, which, Shen primarily does do, especially with that Sunfire Cape now complete. However, there is that Ravenous Hydra for 12% lifesteal. Means that Quas isn't going to be too afraid of Shen just yet.
Yeah, I want to say the Merc Treads makes more sense than the Hex Shrinker, just because Ahri is the only person who's going to be doing a lot of burst magic damage, and if Ahri is blowing her assassination burst on Renekton, something is wrong. Whereas Merc Treads makes a lot of sense because there's the charm, there's Shen's taunt, there's the slow from Twitch, there's the slow from the Tidecaller's Blessing. There's a lot of things that he's going to want tenacity for. So I want to say that that's just going to end up being the Mercury Treads, and I don't really expect to see a whole lot more magic resist out of him. Hex Drinker is a very, very solid item when you have a little bit more magic damage to worry about, especially if you're doing this kind of hybrid, a little bit more damage in the Renekton build than just like that pure tank that we've seen very, very commonly. I'm sort of expecting to see Merc Treads into a little bit more common tanky build, maybe a Sunfire Cape, maybe going straight in for the random ones or something like that, just to try to shut down the Twitch when he shows up, because we're starting to get to the phase of the game where Twitch is going to be the all-important target of focus. He's got a Blade of the Ruin King done, so when he comes out of stealth, he's going to be moving extremely quickly, popping that active, a lot of good burst damage coming right off the bat, and it's going to be all about, can they get to Twitch and shut down his DPS before he's able to take down a high priority target.
All right, well, Hoodstomp's DPS is going to be a concern, but you can keep in mind that pretty much even builds across the board. So even though there was that little bit of a rough laning phase, as well as a 20 CS discrepancy, gold count actually remarkably even between both of those, or at least itemization currently. As is, we have the return of the tri-lane now with guest starring Shousters. He'll take down that middle turret a little bit faster than NWE took down the first. That was the 4th turret of the game. Therefore, New World Eclipse, so they got the ball rolling a little bit slowly, had some hiccups down there in the bottom lanes. Hoodstomp picked up some kills, but it's going to make them very, very strong, setting up for the next dragon coming up in not too long.
And Quas is just chasing Richie Rich away from these golems every single time. Who's going to end up getting him? It goes over to Quas.
Yeah, when you have 3 auto attacks there from the Ruthless Predator, like you were talking about, it makes it a little bit difficult to get in there for the steal. But as his ward coverage taken away once again, low pally there with the ward battles. JD Wu does not have another pink ward, so that will remain in favor of EXERTUS right as Dragon respawns.
Yeah, so New World Eclipse, they're not going to be particularly worried about this one, though. They're just going to dive down and try to take it. We see EXERTUS ZEAL are in the area. Can they go for the contest?
There's going to be the tidal wave going out. Nasus does to get the Dragon with Shen ultimate immediately on. Hoodstomp, he's there in the back. Throws down his ultimate. Quas the right on top of Twitch, exactly where it needs to be. Taking a lot of damage, though. There's the ultimate. Jarvan helping things out, but flash out from Nasus not going to keep himself alive. Shousters gets in there with so much damage. Locally from the back, heal himself on position of damage, but nobody really cares about that. It's all about Unholy Wish. Richie Rich getting in there. Maroon will go down there. JD Wu versus Shen. Who's going to win? Locally coming in from the back, and it does mean... Okay, I was a little bit worried. I was going to commentate that, but I just held my breath. True damage, not quite enough, and that is actually going to be the 3 for 5 exchange. Room getting a little bit caught out there, and a great engage by EXERTUS.
And I really love the play there from Hoodstomp. I mean, Shousters tried to flash behind Twitch and then punt him into the middle of the team. But we saw Hoodstomp was able to just barely flash to the other side of it. It's one of those situations that Riot actually worked on. They patched that a couple of patches ago, I want to say it was, where they were having issues where people were flashing and getting hit by things like Jace's Hammer or a Singe Flip or a Volibear Flip, and they were flashing and using the flash cooldown and then still getting flipped or punted or whatever as if they didn't do that. So in this situation, if we had been playing a couple patches ago, Hoodstomp would have gotten poked down and destroyed in the beginning of that fight. He would have just gotten thrown to the wolves and demolished and wouldn't have been able to do anything. That fight would have gone very, very differently. So it's kind of interesting to see how the game changes patch for patch for patch. And that ended up being super, super significant, as it's single-handedly the only thing that allowed EXERTUS ZEAL to come out ahead in that fight.
Yeah, the other thing that worked out pretty well for them was... really interesting engage onto Hoodstomp. I mean, you saw Quas just basically sitting on Twitch. And that's exactly where he's supposed to be as the big bruiser. I mean, he can peel, yes, but getting in there onto Hoodstomp probably when he's going to be wanting to do a little bit more. He got in there, but he was actually the sort of the focal point for the line nukes coming out of Hoodstomp's ultimate. So it actually just went straight through Quas and hit the rest of the team. So there's still a lot of AoE damage coming out from Hoodstomp and just doing what Twitches do all the way in the back. Actually going for pretty much the same build that Vayne is, so it's kind of a battle to the death with the hyper carries. Well, after that last team fight, you can see Twitch definitely coming out a little bit ahead.
Oh, but the engagement going down. Richie Rich is going to get away.
Whew, yeah, Blade of the Ruined King active there, used, but don't really want to chase on that far. The Shadow Dash out, really getting him a little bit too far to chase things out. And keep in mind that even though that was a 3-for-5 team fight in favor of EXERTUS, Dragon did go to NWE. So overall, gold count still in their favor by about 2,500 gold.
Yeah, the teams are now even on Dragons. You know, it's a 1-kill advantage for EXERTUS. ZEAL First Blood did go over to New World Eclipse, but I mean they're up in the tower count by 3. Take a look at the CS. Renekton is way ahead of Shen, burying Shen. Jace is significantly ahead of Ahri, and realistically, the only significant gold gap that's in favor of EXERTUS ZEAL is a paltry 20 CS gap between the two AD carries. So right now, New World Eclipse, they're not going to be feeling great about the fact that they took down Dragon and then lost a team fight, but overall, they're still in a very, very solid position, and it's going to come down to which one of these, you know, massive late game damage AD carries is going to be better protected, who's going to have better positioning, and who's going to do the damage.
All right, well, I think when you're looking at this engage, you see End Promise here actually blowing the Wither onto Lopali and not actually able to, you know, make Hoodstop a little bit less effective. Does take out the support, the Fish flopping on the ground. Unholy Wish trying to clear things out there, and this will be a pretty successful engage. It's going to be 1-for-0 after NWE using the patented run at the enemy strategy to pick up a nice kill.
That's always a fun one there. And you saw the damage Maruma's already doing. Like 2 shots onto Unholy Wish with one of the crits was just a massive chunk of damage. And if he got the third Silver Bolt proc, that 9-tailed fox might have gotten a couple of those tails shorn off.
Yeah, it definitely would have been somewhat less. Maybe that's what happens when you like use the devolution spray on them. They go back to being a Vulpix. I'm not sure what happens there, but I mean it's always an option. You can see Shouster's trying to push in there bottom lane, but with the teleport coming in, I'm a little bit questioning the usage there that Stand United. I mean, it was a great idea, and had NWE stayed, that would have been a great engage, but unfortunately, I felt like there was a little bit of delay in communication, not quite able to get that down.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty major cooldown getting taken away as well. And so, realistically, with that cooldown taken away, Shen has, I mean, 0 split push potential right now. Because the person, if he's split pushing, the most likely, there's basically 2 people that they're likely to send against him, and it's going to be probably either the Vayne or the Renekton. And Vayne is going to have red buff right now, so while the Warden's Mail will help Shen out a lot, I don't think it's going to be enough to keep him alive. I think Vayne can chase him down and kill him, and he definitely can't 1v1 the Renekton. I like the call from EXERTUS ZEAL though, take down that tower as quickly as they can before they group up, but here's the fight!
Yeah, we're going to see a perfect Stranglethorn 3-man Straw gets the knockup as well on 2 of them. Like you said, Richie Rich can't quite tank things up just yet. Oh, the Impale not actually able to get the 3rd proc of Silver Bolts down onto Unholy Wish. Probably would have been enough to pick up the kill. Shouster's not going down without a fight. Throws the ward in the bush, or Unholy Wish does. It's going to be enough for Shousters to pick up the kill. The DFG adding insult to injury, plus the Ignite, picking up the kill on the Shousters.
Gotta love that play. Unholy Wish recognizing, you know what, the projectile's in the air, might as well turn and burn, do what I can. Ignite goes down with the DFG, just barely able to deal enough damage, but just like that, New World Eclipse have total map control, they have the advantage. It's just Jarvan here to try to defend this tower, and New World Eclipse gonna come out way ahead after that fight.
Yeah, they did go 1-for-3, I believe it was, after the end of that, and that was the first base turn of the game, getting taken down by New World Eclipse. They're gonna back on out of here, not really overstaying their welcome. But after all of these wins, you can see that they're actually starting to pick things up. 6-2 in turrets, and a 7,000 gold lead going into what is probably going to be a Baron-centric sort of phase of the game. Neither team really wanting to give that up, but with as good as, or as well as NWE has done pushing, I gotta say they could really go for either option. Any ideas on what you think they're going to go for based on what you see out of this team?
I mean, the fact that there's an Oracle on JD Wu kind of indicates that they're going to go for more of a map-based play rather than just trying to pile in and take down the inhibitor. They're going to sweep out as many wards as they can. They're going to set up. Dragon has respawn, so that's going to be very, very high on the priority list. As they're confident that they have a gold lead right now. They can recognize, okay, we're up in kills, we're up in towers, we're definitely out ahead. But they also know that they really want to make sure that they spend as much time as they can separating Vayne from the rest of the opposing side as far as gold goes and getting as many items on her as they can. So I don't think we're going to see like an overly aggressive play. I don't think they're going to say, okay, let's sweep out the wards and then just go stand in their jungle and hope somebody comes by and try to pick up a kill and then try to initiate a fight. I don't expect to play like that. I expect them to play a little bit more map control oriented, ward deep in the jungle so they can see any ganks coming, maybe do a little split push action, maybe have Vayne and Renekton both picking up significant amounts of farm while they just contain EXERTUS ZEAL and try to deny them that same farm.
All right, so you mentioned it's going to be about the farm. The gold count's still going to be very strongly in favor of NWE, and you can really see that reflected in their itemization. Ravenous, Hydra, Frozen Mallet, now we have the Warden's Mail picked up, 4, 1, and 5. NWE's Quas is doing a ton of work this game. It's going to be supported by a back line. It's also going to be up there in the damage. You can see double armor penetration as well as the Mana Moon completed and almost fully stacked up there. Shaster is going to be pretty scary, as well as double attack speed items. Vayne right on par there with that Twitch, who's decided to pick up a BF sword for a little bit of extra damage. Is bottom lane going to have to recall, try to defend this inhibitor versus the incoming push from New World Eclipse.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of very attack speed oriented Vayne builds lately. It's just so potent. Final Hour gives her so much additional attack damage, and the Silver Bolt's procs deals so much damage. So this is not a particularly surprising build out of Maroom here. It looks like they are just going to try to pile drive in and take down this inhibitor. They're grouped up. They're going to rely on the Jace poke and the Bash Bros to create enough space for Vayne to walk in, just auto attack the tower. You see Renekton and Nasus both standing at the front of the fight, trying to zone away any sort of catch comp that could step forward and make this Vayne's life difficult.
All right, Maroom had a pretty difficult early game, especially with Hood Stomp busting out a couple of 1v1s down there in the bottom lane. But as New World Eclipse pushing onto this inhibitor, it's going to be interesting to see how EXERTUS is going to react. They have Yoda's ultimate for the engage, but a huge tank line to chunk through. See Maroom just using that acceleration gate to get in there, poke in, do little damage by little damage onto that inhibitor, and sort of wearing away as it's the entropy quite high, buildings depreciating at a remarkable rate. We'll see if NWE are going to get greedy and maybe get a little bit caught out, or if EXERTUS can maybe push them off of this.
See Charm going down there, not going to want to go in on the Renekton though. A lot of times you see teams wait until inhibitors get very, very low before they go for the engage. That's not going to be the case here.
JD Wu gets knocked up, the tidal wave comes out, hits absolutely no one. Hood Stomp's ultimate is down as well. Dunk comes in from Dunkmaster Yoda, but the AD carries in the back, dishing out so much damage. NWE is just crushing through the EXERTUS lineup. They literally just dove into the meat grinder as Quas was in there tanking the damage. Shouster's 0 damage done to him over the course of that fight, and Maroom took it but dished it right back out. 4-0 surrender vote comes out. That will be the game for New World Eclipse.
That was the JD Wu show. I mean, period. That was JD Wu, and JD Wu carrying the snot out of that fight.